Game Week 12 is officially in the books, and it is now time to start turning our attentions towards Game Week 13. And Game Week 13, I can only hope, like a lot of people probably, which honestly I felt like I've said this every single week this season, which is just bizarre. We hope for better things in Game Week 13. And again, this is my transfer plans for Game Week 13, and I've already made my free transfer for the week. And I think you might all know who I might have already bought in, but I am open to taking another hit because somehow, even though my game week was poor, I did actually manage to acquire a green arrow, which is hard to believe, but hopefully this is the first of many green arrows to come because it just can't continue like this. It still continues to amaze me, and I'm going to delve into a few interesting topics again that I've noticed from the weekend. So again, if you enjoy this content, make sure you smash a like on the video, leave us a comment with what your plans are for the week and whether you're making early moves or waiting till the deadline to find out about injured players or whatever, or just ignoring price drops in general. And if you haven't already, please consider smashing the subscribe button. We're on our way to 5,000. And for a special treat, obviously I didn't manage to make any UCL content this week. The very last bit of this video is my UCL team that is obviously going to be starting in Matchday 5 later tonight. With that being said, ladies and gents, let's get into it. So this was the result of Game Week 12. And look, the hit, you would have to say, was actually worthwhile because I did the hit in order to bring in better bench cover. I mean, you can make a case that maybe I shouldn't have done the hit this week and just waited to next week and then just... But I feel like when we get to what my team looks like at the end of this week, it actually kind of makes sense. And on paper, this team looked super sexy, super appealing. It just did not play out the way that I'd anticipated. On Saturday, after the live watch along, when Haaland blanked, I was like, we're on. We are on for a green arrow. We can't not get a green arrow from here. Well, I tell you what, it went really damn close to not being a green arrow. Like it went really, really close to not being a green arrow. And we're going to delve into the debacle that was Manchester United's performance. And I'm still making this video much later than normal because of the fact I'm still, to be honest, frankly, angry. I've been awake since 3:30 in the morning. I've gone to work. I've worked a full day, and it's not been a good day. But I think the disappointing thing is that I just expected more. Like Man United looked like they were trending upwards. Bruno, captain, I mean, he forced Pickford into 2 good saves, and then he missed what was an easy sitter. I'm going to delve into that a little bit more in a minute. But I came into Monday night with such high hopes going, surely these guys combine and I get at least 20 to 25 points minimum. I got 5. Got 5 combined from the 2 of them. Yeah, I think that just sums up I feel like that just sums up the season I'm having. It doesn't matter. Every week, I looked at this team this week and I thought, how is this team's going to get at least 80 plus points? Minimum. I mean, Pope outscored Petrovic and Petrovic played West Ham and Pope played Man City. Then Semenyo didn't even bother to show up. Don't know what's actually going on with that, but he didn't. Senesi at least got an assist, but then got booked, so he really only got DC and not keeping a clean sheet. I mean, the good news was that obviously I bought in Thiago, but this could have also been really good. But again, the luck curse just seems to follow me everywhere. Thiago misses a penalty. It's like I specialise in picking up blokes that love that love getting the penalties and then just squandering them. Look, he scored the first one, and it is always much difficult taking 2 penalties in the same game. I've been in that same position and missed the second one. So I know you second guess yourself, and he kind of went the same way, and the keeper kind of called the bluff, and that's exactly what happened. And I was just frustrating because like I took the hit and it did pay itself off. Obviously, Munoz was part of the hit and he got 14 points. So that was definitely worth it. And that I had a good read on that, and I thought that would be good, and I feel quite confident for the next few weeks of Munoz he's going to continuously get returns. But Thiago, that would have been nice. Obviously, the 4 points came off the bench for Semenyo. That would have been so much nicer if it was 13 points off the bench. The week would have gone a lot better. The team score would have been a lot better. My rank would probably be inside the top 5 mil. Instead, I've only got a very small green arrow up to 5.4. And then Sepp van den Berg, like, he's going to get that amount of points on the bench, a bit like Mukiele over the next few weeks. Sepp van den Berg's obviously coming into the team this week, which is why I took the hit in order to make it happen and free up the funds for my other moves that are doing this week, because obviously funds were very tight. But I think the Crystal Palace game was just mind-boggling. I mean, Sarr is a frustrating own. And like back 3 weeks ago, I took a -4 and I bought in Mateta, Sarr, Rice, Mark Gui, and whoever I bought, and Gabriel. Those are the 5, right? I could have just done 4, and instead of bringing in, Mark Gui, I could have brought in Danny Welbeck, Thiago, instead of getting Mateta, Minte, and Gabriel, and Rice. That would have been my 5. I can tell you that decision not to make that move for Thiago and Welbeck at that time, compared to Mateta and Mark Gui, and then Sarr instead of Minte, that has cost me about 50 to 60 points over the last 3 weeks. Like, Minte has got 2 big hauls, Sarr's got nothing. Mateta, other than the 1 goal that he got in the first week I owned him, has done nothing. Meanwhile, I missed out on Thiago's big 2 hauls the 2 weeks prior, and I missed out on Welbeck, who just seems to keep scoring. So, like, I had the plans. I've just picked the wrong option for my own team every single time, and it just feels like I can't buy a break. It's like I've got the decisions there, and I just keep picking the wrong one. I just keep picking the wrong players, and the other players are the ones that are hauling, and the ones I pick are doing nothing. For whatever better term, they're doing nothing. But yeah, I mean, the Palace boys, that was disappointing. I mean, the Munoz goal was great, paid off the hit, but then the fact that Sarr didn't do anything, really didn't look like doing anything in that game. Then Mateta missed what should have been a goal. And I feel like he's been a very frustrating player to watch. Like, he gets so many good chances, so much XG, and then just wastes it. And then Mukiele continues to get points on the bench for me. I mean, it's so frustrating. I played the bench boost for 4 points, and even with Thiago subbing on, I've still got 10 points on the bench. And when I play my bench boost, I got 4. So, like, it's like the never-ending season of pain. At least it was a green arrow. And I think that's all that needs to be said, really. I mean, it was just the Bruno captaincy tonight. We're going to delve into that right now, but it was just poor. So onto the flop and the star of the week. And this was a section that a lot of the viewers have been requesting, particularly in the WhatsApp group. Can you do your star of the week? Well, not the star, but the flop of the week. And the flop of the week was very easy this week, and the star. But we're going to start with the star because I like to start off nice and positive before we delve into just what has been a very frustrating day for me. And I might talk a bit more about it now. So Daniel Munoz, the star of the show, one of the main reasons why I wanted to take the hit was to get him in. He was a good transfer in for Dan Bird, who obviously didn't play, so it was a net game and a 14 points straight out the gate there. Got the 1 goal, got the 1 clean sheet, got the 3 bonus. The only disappointing thing was he didn't get the 15 because he did get booked in this game, and he's now annoyingly on 4 yellow cards. So I'm just hoping that he gets the yellow card in game week 15 because game week 16 is the week I'm free hitting and he'll be out of the team. So I know it's not going to work like that. He probably gets booked this week against Man United, and then I mean, he might not actually because Dorgu's rubbish and so is Dallo, so there's no need to really foul them. There's no really need to worry about them going down that side, so maybe he doesn't get booked this week and we live to fight another day. But based on the stats, he was actually very lucky to keep a clean sheet. Like, they conceded 1.79 XGC, which, when you think about it, is ridiculous. Like, they should have conceded off that. Obviously, it was a pretty good XG chance that he got, and he finished it really well, 0.49 there, and he racked up 0.02 expected assists. He was very close to getting even more points because he was 1 away from getting the DC. 9 DC. I mean, there was a story of these two, the lack of 1 DC contribution. So, yeah, look, he took his chance exceptionally well. There was nothing to say there. I mean, they were lucky that they were playing Wolves, and Wolves are not a very good team at scoring goals, and they're not a very good team in general. And I've got nothing else positive to say. First week in the team, 14 points. If all of my players did that, that would get my season back up. Well, it would get it up and running. I feel like I've just been spluttering. We're still yet to get a score over 80. I don't recall the last time I've ever gone this far into a season and only had one score over 70. It's like, I just don't get it. And then on to the flop of the week. And this is probably half the problem in my team. Bruno Fernandes. Now, I don't want to be too critical, and I actively thought about just rage trading him out this morning. I was that annoyed and that pissed off of Manchester United's performance. I wasn't a happy person. I was a big old grump, to be honest with you, for most of the day. How this man continues to dodge points is just, it's mind-boggling, it's frustrating, and the only good thing is at least I've still got my record of whenever I do captain Bruno, he's never lost out to Haaland. So that record remained intact, so that felt nice. But what could have been? What could have been? So 2 points here, 0 goals, 0 clean sheet, 0 assists. Expected goals conceded, 0.23. United conceded off 0.23. That's all Everton created in the game. I mean, that's all we need to know about this game. It was the XG for Bruno, 0.36. The expected assist, 0.31. Combined, 0.67 XGI. Frustrating. And like, he forced Pickford into some good saves. And Pickford was on point today. He was brilliant. If you own Pickford, he deserved the mega haul because he was fantastic for Everton in goal. I mean, some of the saves from Bruno were out of there, like especially that one in the first time. I thought it was in. I'll hold my hands up and say I thought that was heading into the top corner. I feel like other goalkeepers that wouldn't have got there, but Pickford just got it there. And then as obviously happens, Man United against 10 men. What happens the last 15 minutes of the game? The best attacker on the field, the one that looks the most likely to score. Where's he playing? Centre back the last 15 minutes. I mean, the goalkeeper went forward and Bruno was even further back. Mason Mount came on the field and all of a sudden Bruno Fernandes, who's actually got a few assists of late from the corners on the left-hand side, guess who started taking him? Mason Mount. It was like, it was so infuriating, and you knew when this was happening, he was going to land on 11 DC, and he did. Look, to be honest, I could easily put Mateta here because he didn't even get to 60 minutes, but the fact that I expected Man United to batter Everton. I expected him to batter him. It was just a woeful performance from Manchester United. And maybe I'm being a bit critical on Bruno picking him out when Mbeumo got 1 point and a yellow card and really did next to nothing. But as captain, I picked you because I thought you'd deliver and you had everything. You had all the ingredients for success and you delivered me 2 points. So he is definitely the flop of the week. And it's probably the fact that I'm still annoyed at Man United that he actually got it. So on to the Game Week 12 card calls. The card is almost exactly going at 50-50. And that's what you would expect from a chance card that over the course of the season, we would have exactly 50-50. After this week, it's now on for the season calls 45 correct, 15 draws, and 44 wrong. Which kind of sums up the kind of decisions I'm making. The ones that I don't seem to do get all the points, and the ones that I don't, you would think at some point it will even itself out, right? Like, that is the definition of a 50-50. Like, you'll eventually start getting some of these calls go your way. Football is a bit like that. There's only 3 exact results, which is kind of what I'm trying to show here. This is eventually, it will play out. At some point, my luck should, in theory, turn itself around. But look, it got Szoboszlai versus Sarr wrong by a point. It got Canate versus Virgil wrong by 2, or I think maybe even 3, I'm not sure. It did call Thiago over Haaland, surprisingly. I still can't believe that. But he outscored Haaland by 2. I mean, he should have smoked him, but he didn't. Casemiro obviously lost out to Ahmad, again, not by much. And Mbeumo captain didn't miss out too much by Bruno, but again, it was wrong. Shard obviously got beaten, well beaten by Minte. O'Reilly lost out to Cash by a point. I mean, there was a lot in some of these calls this week. And Estavio versus Garnacho, and neither of them bothered to show up to play in Game Week 12. So that was a complete dead heat and a dead rubber there. So the score predictions of Game Week 12, and how accurate was I this week? I mean, I called Chelsea versus Burnley and the exact result, 2-0 there, so that was good. The ones that I got completely wrong, Bournemouth versus West Ham. I still don't know how Bournemouth didn't win that game. They racked up over 4 XG in that game. West Ham racked up 2 goals off 0.5 0.4 something or for 0.5 XG in that game. Huge. Sometimes this kind of thing just goes to show sometimes stats make no difference. Like sometimes you get lucky in a game of football and you can hold on, you get 2-goal lead and you just set up shop. And that's kind of what happened with Everton and Man United this morning as well. Once Everton got the goal, I had no interest in going attacking. Why need to? You've got 10 men. Bournemouth versus West Ham. Didn't go as I predicted. Ended up as a 2-2 draw. And, it wasn't overly good for FPL assets unless you had Callum Wilson, who had a monster haul. Brighton versus Brentford. I got the result again. Saturday was a day of just calling the result and getting the right scoreline. So Brighton did beat Brentford 2-1. It really should have been 2-2 with that missed penalty from Thiago towards the end. But, it was an entertaining game and a game where both teams struggled to keep clean sheets, and that's essentially how it played out. Fulham versus Sunderland. This one I got completely wrong. Fulham were well worth the result. They racked up way more XG. They won the XG battle, the shot battle. Sunderland offered very little. It was like they looked like Man United after the international break. Just did not bother showing up for Gameweek 12. And Fulham were well worth the 1-0 win. And congratulations to anyone who got Anderson off the bench for Semenyo or Cunha. You've done super well there. Congratulations. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. I said this would be a Nottingham Forest win, and my God, was it a win. This was the statement for Diceball getting up and running, and it took Nottingham Forest out of the relegation zone and just piled the pressure on Arnie Slot. I don't know where Liverpool go. They've lost 6 in 7 games now in the league. It's an alarming slump. I don't think this is going to be close to one of the worst defence titles or defending of titles you'll ever see in the Premier League era. It might actually be the worst. It might even be worse than David Moyes' attempt with Man United about 13 odd years ago. And that's saying something. And they spent 400 odd million pounds in the summer and David Moyes bought in Fellaini. So, I'll leave that one there for Liverpool fans. Newcastle versus Man City. I missed one there. Wolves versus Crystal Palace. This probably could have been, Wolves probably should have scored as I talked about, but Palace could easily have scored more. Ended up finishing 2-0. Then Newcastle versus Manchester City. I did say I thought Haaland were blank, and I just wish that, I could have benched him like I talked about, but he would have come off the bench anyway with his 2 points because he would have been first on the bench. 2-1. Newcastle, it was a pretty good game of football, to be fair. The live watch along, both teams could have won it. Realistically probably should have ended in a draw, but a very good night for Eddie Howe and Newcastle, who finally get their season a little bit back on track. And it just goes to show how much better Newcastle are at home compared to away from home. Aston Villa versus Leeds. I was very close to the scoreline here. In fact, Leeds were by far the better team in the first half, and Aston Villa, after some substitutions at half-time, really turned it up in the second half and ended up coming from behind with a Morgan Rogers brace in order to get the job done, winning 2-1. Unfortunately, no clean sheets there for the Villa defence. Then on to Arsenal versus Spurs. And let's be honest, Spurs are crap. That was one of the worst performances I think I've ever seen from a Spurs team in the North London derby that I can actually recall remembering. It was an embarrassing performance. The fact that Richarlison probably scored the goal of the weekend should not sugarcoat the fact that Spurs were woeful. They were unbelievably woeful against their fiercest rivals. And Arsenal were well good value for the 4-1 win. And the big talking point there was Eze with 3 goals. His first hat-trick for Arsenal. Well, I don't even know if he scored a hat-trick before. I think he has scored one for Crystal Palace. I'd have to go back and check. But he was sensational. But I wouldn't be rushing out to buy him. The fixtures aren't good for Arsenal. There's a lot of players coming back, and he's not. I don't think realistically he's going to have the minutes moving forward. And then the biggest wrong call of the weekend: Man United 4-1 over Everton. I got the goal right for Everton. I just didn't get the 4 right for Man United. That has to be figuratively up there in one of the worst. That'd be my top 5 worst performances I've watched since Fergie retired and retired from management. Like, it was actually that bad. I actually feel embarrassed to call myself a Man United fan. And Ruben Amorim, if you're watching this, mate, I hate to say it to you. If you're playing against 10 men for the whole game, right? Pretty much, after Everton contrived to show United that they are not United and then somehow United can't beat them, how you cannot realise that playing 3 centre-backs against Theodore Barry, who has not scored a Premier League goal all season, I don't know what else to say other than the fact that it's just not good enough. If you're playing against 10 men, change the bloody system, mate. I hate to break it to you. Man United should have battered them with 10 men. And then you've got your best player, Bruno Fernandes, sitting there almost as an auxiliary centre-back towards the end of the game. I mean, I do not know what he was thinking. The substitutions and the team selection were pathetic. He had Lacey on the bench, an untried 18-year-old, who, let's be honest, Joshua Zirkzee is no good at football. He's no good for the Premier League. He's not Premier League calibre, let alone Man United calibre, and yet somehow he survived on the field for 90 minutes. And to make matters worse, Dorgu wasn't overly good, but we all knew what was the inevitable outcome. It's not pushing Luke Shaw at the left wing back and bringing on Martinez. No, it's bringing on Diego Dalot, who will do the same trick every single time, bring it onto his right foot because he can't cross with his left because he's no good. He hasn't got a left foot and he's no good playing on the left. And Everton said, keep on doing it. We've got Tarkowski in the middle. And Tarkowski just racked up the DEFCONs like they were going out of fashion. I mean, it was a pathetic performance. It was Amarin disaster class. And I don't know why he insists on not playing Bruno on the 10, because he's clearly, with the injuries and the missing absences and the fact that players are going away to AFCON, if he continues to persist playing him in the midfield, I think Bruno's actually going to have to become a sell. So on to my early reactions to Game Week 13, yet it was another week where Haaland was not the top scoring player. He's not actually been the top scoring player now for 12 game weeks. So you can consistently take him on. It's just a matter of getting lucky, I suppose. It was the week, obviously, to take him on, but some of the players, in fact, the most popular ones, all pretty much blanked, except Saka, who got 2 defensive contribution points. Some people did go to Munoz, and congratulations to them. That was the big payoff payday. That's the one you wanted. But it just kind of goes to show that bravery in captaincy just doesn't pay off. I just love it for them to allow it so you could captain on Saturday, then change it to Sunday. That way you could be brave and then you could result or whatever. But like, again, there's no real reward. Took the Haaland on, didn't get a return, and it is what it is. The curse of the most transferred in strikes again. The second time in 3 game weeks that Brian Mbeumo's had that curse. He blanked against Nottingham Forest when he was the most transferred in player. He was the most transferred in player again in Game Week 12, and he blanked yet again. It got even worse than the last time. He got 1 point this time. Wolves, they're getting relegated. Doesn't matter. They've got a new manager. You've got to be preparing for the championship. Sell your best players in January. Get ahead of the curve and just, enjoy the championship. Enjoy it. Wolves are normally really good when they go to the championship, so they should be back pretty shortly. Forest and Everton was statement victories. I've just talked about the fact that they've been really good, so well done to them again. And we got a glimpse of what Roulette's going to look like. Enzo Maresca, I think he's going to be the worst one. Trying to read what he's going to do might actually be harder than reading what Pep does. I legit don't understand why he started Reece James. And good luck. Good luck if you own Chelsea players. I've got one myself, and he's in the plans to get rid of now, following the weekend where he did get the clean sheet. So popular flagged assets and how they went on this weekend. So the majority of them did show up and did really well. So Enzo Fernandez, fantastic performance. If you held him, unlike Gary who sold him, you were awarded with a monster haul. Pedro Neto, ditto. Both of them hauling for Chelsea. Almost every other yellow flag player in the game actually bothered to show up. The 3 that didn't, though, were obviously Semenyo, and there was a lot of noises around Semenyo. Has he hurt his ankle? Has he hurt his knee? Is it because he's got engaged? And then apparently the rumours are that it was just an illness, and that's why he didn't play. Now, yeah, I mean, frustrating if you held him and it affected your price drop because you thought, I'll get one last good week of him and then see if I want to move him this week. But again, his price is due to fall tonight. It was meant to fall last night. It didn't, probably with all the people on free hit, but it is scheduled to drop in price tonight. And that's a problem. So like, if you're like me, okay, I had to sell him because a price drop actually affects my selling price. So I've got rid of him. So I'd normally say you're probably better off waiting because they're not in Europe till Friday to listen to the press conference. But if price drops impact on you and you are thinking about selling him, I'd just say sell him. Caicedo, after all the travel, he did play 180 minutes during the international break. He did not make the starting lineup. He was on the bench the entire game. And so was Garnacho and so was Estevao. And this was a sign of Enzo Maresca Roulette. And this is the annoying thing with him. So very frustrating for Reece James owners as well. He starts at right back. And it was frustrating for Chalobah owners like myself. Because Chalobah was on track for DC at half time. He then ends up playing right back because James goes off. Why did James start? Like, why not just start Gusto there or something? If he was always going to do that, well, I don't understand why he played him for 45 minutes. I mean, Maresca is a hard manager to understand. And that's kind of why I want to sell my Chelsea assets. Well, my Chelsea assets, sorry. Because you just don't know what's coming. Of all the games that are coming up, and we know that he loves rotation. And I just don't know if I want to put myself through it. And then Cunha, the last one, mysteriously, I mean, news broke that the only reason why we kind of knew that potentially could have been out was that he missed turning on the Christmas lights in Aldrington, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Aldringham, something like that. Didn't show up, and they cited that he had a head injury. And then there was rumours that Mark Goldbridge on the United Stand was saying that it was just a headache and he'll be fine. And he didn't show up, wasn't in the squad, not there at all. I mean, I don't know how much of an impact that had on Manchester United's performance. Based on what I saw, I don't think it would have much of an impact, to be honest. But I would wait on that one till Friday because I don't think a price drop's. He's not going to get sold where a price drop's going to come into it or whatever. And I don't think now he's going to be bought. But it's definitely one of those ones where you just want to kind of monitor until Friday and just wait for an update. I mean, maybe he's allergic to Christmas and maybe he wants to be a bit of a Grinch and that's why he didn't want to do it. I don't know. Either way, he didn't show up, but that was frustrating for their owners. But most of these owners had really good bench options. So a lot of people probably did get the likes of Anderson's 10 points off the bench. Or if you're really lucky, like the Cards team, the Card got Kevin Dewsbury Hall, 13-pointer off the bench for Semenyo. I mean, the Cards team's beaten mine over the last 3 weeks. And it's been taking hits every week, and I've only taken one. It just goes to show that luck has deserted me, folks. So the value of patience, and look, I just want to bring this one up because a lot of people are selling assets, right? Because even me, I'm victim. I just talked about before about SAR's done nothing for me, and like other players that are just in my line of thoughts, and like a lot of people sold Eze this week for like Bruno Fernandes or another asset or like a Saka or someone. And what does he then go and do? He gets 20 points. And if you spread that out over the last 3 weeks where he's blank, you could say he's got about 6.66 points per week for the last 3 weeks if you look at it like that. Like, this can happen. Assets will eventually haul. That always happens. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, and like it's the same with like Nottingham Forest assets. For example, I had double defence for so long. It finally came in, but it took 12 weeks for it to do. Sometimes you got to sit there and work out whether it's worth holding an asset or selling them and just hoping you get it right. I mean, to be fair, it was a North London derby. Who would have predicted that Eze would be the first bloke in I don't know how many years it's been since someone scored a hat-trick in the North London derby, but he did it. I mean, he just had a great night and everything fell to him and he put it all away. He could have had 4. He was just brilliant. And then Morgan Rogers, back from wherever he's been hiding, 2 goals, 15 points, huge hauls, even Harvey Barnes. I mean, I wouldn't be going anywhere near him, but he got 2 goals for Newcastle, and he's one of them players that's a hot streak player. Like, is it worth being patient and just hoping for your player to come good like I have kind of with Saar because the fixtures on paper look good? Or do I just sit there and just go, oh, I'm not going with him and I'll just wear it if it goes poorly and go for players that are in form? Because I think what we saw here is we saw Timber obviously get a return, obviously with the assist, and Arsenal obviously very unlucky to miss out on the clean sheet. I mean, it was a worldie. Rice continues to tick over. Again, this week, Saka wasn't really involved. Somehow got the 12 DC yet again. How he keeps on getting DC, I don't know, because Arsenal's defence don't get any of it. It's only Saka that seems to be getting it. It's like, is there like a magnet to him? It's really bizarre. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to be patient. It's hard to be impatient in a game where you can get emotionally attached. And it is a skill. And the person that's number 8 in the world has not made a transfer all season long. Like, I mean, maybe he's doing a challenge to see if he can do the whole season and see how high he can get. But it does go to show the value of just picking good picks and just letting them go and just allowing the law of averages to come in. So there is something in that. Maybe just picking 15 good blokes at the start of the season, just letting it go. And eventually at some point it'll even itself out. You'll get bench jam at some points when players are injured, et cetera, or miss a game. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure is the honest answer. But then, I've talked about the fact that Arsenal seem to be pretty immune from like fixtures and just still performing. Like even their defence, even their attacking assets. We've seen other teams do the same. I mean, popular assets like Haaland and Bruno have been doing it for years. It doesn't matter what the fixture is, they return. This year, I have been guilty of picking Forest assets with good fixtures. I've been guilty of picking West Ham assets with good fixtures. I've been guilty of like picking Crystal Palace assets the last 3 weeks with good fixtures and getting no points. This year, it definitely is a case of going for the players that are in form rather than the fixture based on what we've seen so far. I mean, just look at the weekend just been. Man United, Liverpool, the two biggest ones, Bournemouth, and it should say Sunderland, not Fulham, because Fulham actually made the most of that matchup. They all butchered. They all butchered their matchups. What was meant to be an easy fixture that would breed form did not bring anything anywhere remotely near form. So I think we've got to start changing the way we think about players at the moment this season. It does seem to be that the teams and the players in form are the ones getting the points, not the ones with the easy fixtures. Easy fixtures don't seem to be breeding form so far this year anyway, based on what I've watched. And I don't swear in my videos, as you all are keenly aware. But what the F is going on with these two clubs? What is going on? I mean, Man United, this is important because they both have amazing fixtures for like the foreseeable future. They're both in the top 4 for the fixture difficulty rating through for like the next 8 to 10 game weeks. It's insane how good both of these clubs have it in terms of fixtures. But can we trust them from what we're getting dished up on a weekly basis? I'm not sure that we can. Man United, just absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish they were against Everton. And Liverpool were just as rubbish. I don't actually know what the worst result was. Like Nottingham Forest went there and really should have probably scored more than the 3. I mean, Liverpool probably should have scored as well. Man United should have scored as well. But I just don't know what to say. Liverpool have now lost 6 of their last 7 games. I've talked about them in yesterday's video about changing them as a fixture to a green because they just don't seem to know how to win a game of football at the moment, particularly in the league. And Man United are just an enigma. Every time, I thought United Strand would have been able to cut his hair by now. I legit thought, based on what we saw in that Brighton game, the Liverpool game, I mean, maybe this just goes to show how bad Liverpool are because Man United beat them and we all got a bit carried away thinking that they were going to be great and they'd won 3 on the trot when they beat Brighton. Then all of a sudden they go to Forest and look pretty average. Then they went to Spurs and just, I don't know what they did there in the last half an hour. And then they played Everton for 90 minutes. And now I'm like, are Man United even back? Like, they're not back. But are they even improving? Like, I've actually seen improvement. I've been fooling myself. Yes, Bruno's been ticking along. He's got, outside of this week, he's returned, I've got some sort of return in the last 3 or 4 games before that. Brian Mbeumo ditto. He's only blanked 2 in the last 5 or 6 or whatever it is. But when you're playing a team that has 10 men for 75 minutes and you can't score at home at Old Trafford in what was arguably one of the worst performances I can recall in the last 13 years, I don't know. And to be honest, a lot of the talk will be about Bruno Fernandes. I've got him in my own team, so I'm well aware of that talk. He is frustrating me so much. I don't know who frustrates me more, actually. Bruno, the fact that he looks like he's dodging points at the moment. He keeps on getting in great positions. He just can't quite get the job done. Or Ruben Amorim. Like, how hard is it? I don't understand with Man United managers. With Eric Ten Hag, you could see that the midfield was a wide chasm. Like, any man and his dog could figure it out. That was the issue. And he didn't do anything to fix it or address it or cover it up or buy an actual player that knew how to play in the midfield. This summer, I'm not putting the players bought down to Amarin. I think the club knew they needed a midfielder. They didn't buy one. But why he persists on playing Bruno Fernandes in the 8, I will never know. I will not. It doesn't make any sense. Any Man United fan, and obviously I'm one, and I know this is going a little bit off FPL, will tell you that Dallo at left wing back is a complete waste of a player. He might as well be a witch's hat. And anyone else can tell you that Joshua Zirkzee is a witch's hat. He's just a mobile one, and he's next to no good. I hate to criticize players, and this is not meant to be about this. My plans, but it links into my plans. If he doesn't play Bruno on the 10 when Brian Mbeumo goes away to AFCON, I think he's a sell. I actually think he's a sell because yes, he's got lots of routes to points, but if he's playing there. And we've got Joshua Zirkzee sitting up top. They're not scoring any goals. They're legit not scoring goals if that man is on the field. And we saw it tonight. He was so poor. And I was hoping that we were going to get a glimpse of what we might get when they go away to AFCON. And he played Bruno further forward and played Mbeumo on the field. We saw nothing of the sort. And even in the second half when Mbeumo came on, we saw Bruno just drop even deeper. So I don't know what to think. I feel like he's on notice. He's on notice, and he may well go when I get those 5 free transfers in game week 16 because I can't. I actually was tempted to free hit just to get my United players out after that performance this morning, but I've kind of calmed down a little bit. And then Slot just looks like he's out of ideas. He doesn't. Their defense, they've got 4 defenders at the moment. The rest are all injured, and like Connor Bradley's always injured. Frimpong looks like he's always injured. Kirk is a liability. Randy Robertson is 31. Then you got Virgil, who's definitely lost his aura. And then you got Canate, who's having the merest of mare seasons. I don't think you can actually go to your level. Like, you might be able to, from an attacking perspective, they might actually be able to turn that around. They're not turning that defense around. Those players are not good enough. They look shambolic. They look like they're going to concede multiple goals a game. Anyone that bought Virgil, you were warned. I said that Liverpool can't defend. They definitely can't defend. And I think that there's going to be more pain at the London Stadium. I think West Ham easily score. I'd be very tempted by Bowen or Callum Wilson on free hit because I think they're going to be great. And again, it just goes to show, don't pick players that aren't in teams that are in form because you'll be disappointed. The fixtures might look amazing. The form will let you down. So on to my game week. It should be my game week 13 watch list. Apologies for that. But this is what it looks like. So we've made a couple of moves here. Actually, it is my actual Game Week 12 watch list. I've forgotten to update it. But essentially, other players that I've added onto here, obviously, I bought Munoz. So I'm actually thinking about doubling up on the Crystal Palace defence. And I think Timber needs to be part of the conversation of, well, he definitely is the best Arsenal defender. Apparently, there's rumours that Gabriel might be back quicker than expected as well. But yeah, in the midfield, though, I'm actually thinking that Elliot Anderson could be a really good pick. Like, moving Bruno to Elliot Anderson just frees up so much money to just dump in the defence and buy all these expensive defenders that are actually holding every single week. And Bruno's just not cutting the mustard. And Elliot Anderson's just getting it done, pretty much doing the exact same thing as Bruno, but he's getting the DC literally every single week. So I think potentially he could be an option. Dango, he's an option as well. I wouldn't be looking at Szoboszlai myself anymore. And then in the forward line, Callum Wilson, obviously I bought Thiago, so Callum Wilson needs to be looked at as an option. So does Raul Jimenez, and so does the Pigeon. Because Spurs actually have a good fixture against Fulham this week, and Fulham arguably have a good fixture against Spurs this week, and both of them are really good options. So yeah, I haven't quite updated it. It is updated above me, so you'll see that I've put it there. But for some weird reason, I didn't put it there, which is annoying. So my transfer plans for Game Week 13, and this is what we're looking like. So I've locked it in. Confirmed, Semenyo's gone. Phil Foden is back. Now, I know that he's done nothing, folks, and I know I've been burnt once before. And look, my season's at a spot where I'm kind of open to the fact that it might just not be my year, and the picks I'm picking may just not come in. But I'm sticking to the plan that I did last week, that I talked about my team selection. And I am going the Foden punt. I mean, Semenyo not playing just kind of made it a little bit easier. I bought him in. He's locked in. I'll be playing him this week against Leeds. Cue the benching roll, pep roulette. This is even going to happen, right? And the original plan was to get rid of Chalobah for Mateus Nunes, right? That's option 2, which will be for the -4. I haven't done that one yet, There's no price rises looking. In fact, actually, it looks like Chalobah's close to a price rise. And if that's the case, I actually bought him at 5.2. So I'm kind of hoping that he does rise because then I'll gain that extra 0.1 back. That could be exceptionally vital to my team moving forward. It also opens up another option where I could go Senesi to Nico O'Reilly if Chalobah rises to 5.2. No, I can't actually. I still don't get many money. Ignore that. Ignore what I just said then. But that's the second option, right? The third option, and this one is doable, is to move Senesi to Matheus Nunes and keep Chalobah because I don't like Bournemouth's run of fixtures coming up and I'm sick of double defence, as everyone knows, and I just want to get out of it. And I've already sold my Dan Burn to get out of that one. I'm very open to selling Senesi. And then the other option is, and I didn't put it here, was either Sarr or Rice to Minte in order to free up the funds to do it, because I'd need slightly more money to do it. And I'm open to a -8 because every time I take hits this year, I'm getting green arrows. So I'm very open to doing it. Every time I don't take a hit, I actually get a red. So I don't know what that says about my team. When I think it looks good, it's just not. So I'm better off just taking hits and hoping for the best. Then obviously, the other option would be to move Mateta to Welbeck. Now, I think I prefer, with the midweek fixtures coming up, I think I prefer Minte. Just off the fact, and probably for Sarr, because then it's going to save me a transfer anyway at some point. It then also opens up the fact that if I do want to go to double defence and subject everyone that owns double Palace defence to blanks, I can then bring in Lacroix for Senesi or whoever, like, down the line the week after in Gameweek 14. Like, that is also an option that I'm very much open to, which is why I'm looking at Sarr and Mateta. And I keep thinking now that Minte and Welbeck might be like the Wisser and Mbeumo double up from Brentford last year. I really feel like it could be that good. So I'm very open to it. And those are some of my moves. I could even bring in like Kevin Shard if I wanted to instead for like a Declan Rice and just not bring in a defender this week and just leave Senesi in or just leave Chalobah in. Because Chalobah's fixtures post Arsenal are not too bad. So that's also a consideration. But again, I just don't like Enzo Maresca roulette, and that in itself concerns me a lot. So how's the team looking for this week? So as I said, I have done the Semenyo to Foden transfer, so my squad value is exactly 103, and at the moment, I've just used the one free transfer, but it would be if I do what I was originally planning on doing, and that's bringing Matheus Nunes in for the triple up against Leeds at home. I expect Leeds to get battered by Man City. And I think realistically, on the odds, I'd probably do this. I'd probably go that. And look, people will probably say, why are you benching Rice? I mean, you've got Mukiele and Senesi benched as well. You don't probably need to do the -4. I could just leave it with Foden and Haaland and play Mukiele. Play Mukiele or Senesi in the Matheus Nunes spot. And I've got no problems with playing Man United against Crystal Palace because Man United will need to respond, and Bruno and Mbeumo have been returning, and I do actually expect them to score against Palace, but I also expect Palace to score against that United team and quite comfortably score against them. So I feel like that game's going to be a goal fest. Obviously, the green behind Foden suggests that, well, I've done it. I've done that move in. And in terms of Nunes, I obviously haven't done that one, but I think that is where I'm going to go. And obviously then I've got the double Brentford boys against Burnley at home, which feels nice, which is kind of why I took the hit last week and why I want to take the hit this week, because the team then will look pretty good. But I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at the moment. I mean, Sunderland versus Everton in terms of the goalkeepers is 50-50. I just feel like Pope's got more of a chance of a clean sheet against that Everton team than what Petrovic does, because Bournemouth have been really poor away from home, and especially defensively. And it's a bit of a special because I didn't do any UCL content this week. This is my UCL fantasy team for Matchday 5, and I've also taken a hit here. So I've made 3 transfers this week. We've got rid of Anthony Gordon, who's been poor since ever I bought him into the squad. I got injured at one point, and then I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to be really fit. Then we've got rid of the Inter players. So I've got rid of Cagladu, and I got rid of I got rid of Dumfries. They've got no good fixtures now, and I intend on bringing them in for the only good fixture they do when I play my limitless chip. I've already wild-carded, so I've taken a -4, but the team looks pretty good. We're going to start like that, and on tonight, we're going to captain Haaland, see how he goes against Leverkusen at home. If he doesn't do very well, we're probably realistically going to whack the captaincy on either Nuno Mendes or Kvaratskhelia, who's come into the team, because they've got Spurs at home. And I fancy PSG to batter the crap out of Spurs based off what I saw on the weekend against Arsenal. And I feel like they're going to be low on confidence after that result, and I don't think it's going to get any better here. So yeah, that's the team. That's how it's looking. I think it looks pretty good. We've got obviously one Newcastle player now instead of... obviously we've got the bit of a clash there with Newcastle obviously playing Marseille, and obviously got Piaxo and Rulli. But I'm pretty confident. And look, I did bring Canate in, and I mean, he's got to play. There's no one else that can actually play. So hopefully he plays a better performance. Hopefully they can keep PSG to no goals. It is a nice fixture for Liverpool to hopefully get back on track. So I'm hoping that comes out pretty good. Yeah, I mean, the team looks pretty good. Hopefully it goes much better. The match day 4 was a hard week for me because my team just didn't look any good. And I didn't want to play a limitless chip because I didn't really like the fixtures. I just happen to have a lot of clashes. This week I've only got Arsenal, my Bayern boys playing against Arsenal. But there's a good chance I just sub them to the bench because I've got a pretty good bench this week, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. But yeah, that's how the team's looking for match day 5. Sorry there was no UCL content this week. Obviously with the live watch longs and every other bit of content and working a full-time job, it just hasn't been quite possible. But anyone that is playing UCL Fantasy, yeah, check out my UCL playlist for the league code if you haven't already joined. There is a free shirt up for grabs for the winner of that league as well. So there is a motivation to play. And yeah, that's all I'll say. Good luck in UCL match day 5. Hopefully you get a green arrow. I need a green arrow on that one. I keep on getting reds this year. It's frustrating. So that brings us to the end of my transfer plans and what the hell I'm going to be doing and moving towards in Game Week 13. Look, I posted this morning in the live watch along for the end of the Game Week 12. I was very tempted to free hit just to see good riddance to my United assets for 1 week. But then I thought about it and I thought this is probably the week where I do it and they're probably all haul. And then I'll just be like going, this is just, yeah. So I'm just going to stick fat, hope for the best. Realistically, I'm going to take another hit this week. Every time I take a hit this year, it's been a green arrow. So maybe that's what I've just got to keep doing in order to try and hunt them down. I know other people say that hits are bad, but for my team at the moment, it seems to be the only way I can actually seem to get green arrows. So hopefully we can turn it around. But look, Bruno Fernandes failed captaincy. At least he didn't get beaten by Haaland, so that was some small saving grace. Anyways, I'll catch you again soon. If you enjoyed that, smash a like on the video. Sorry it's been so long. There was a lot to cover and a lot to unpack in terms of my own sanity after tonight's game. You can tell it's probably still affecting me because I've got probably a different demeanour than normal. But yeah, leave me a nice encouraging comment. Get me back on track. And I'll see you again tomorrow for transfer tips and then Thursday for team selection. Thanks for watching. I've been the D-Unit. Have a good Tuesday afternoon and evening.